Welcome back to the Highlander Hour. I'm your host, Aiden Beveridge.
And I'm your other host, Austin Lamb. Tonight we talk about dancing and its relevancy to sports, how college athletics affect students, state parks, animal shelters, musical productions, mental health, and a look inside how the passing of our beloved professor, Wes Bowers, has affected staff and students.
Stay tuned after the stories for an exclusive roundtable about this past summer's biggest film event, Barbenheimer. Which was better and why? Without further ado, let's get into our first story. Now is the perfect time to get outdoors at your local state park. Claytor Lake State Park is right down the road from the university and offers a variety of activities for visitors.
Claytor Lake State Park is a hotspot for Radford and Virginia Tech students alike. The park is open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. year-round. For only $7, you can have an eventful day outdoors. The park offers a variety of outdoor activities, ranging from relaxing by the lake to hiking trails. It's only about 20 minutes from Radford University and is a great escape from studies. Broderick Havens, the park manager, was able to sit down and tell me what else the park has to offer.
The park offers a wide variety of different things, and that's based on the season. You know, some folks enjoy seeing the park in a snow-covered setting versus a 90-degree sunshiny day. So the park changes with the seasons, and so do the visitors.
Claytor Lake State Park has activities for anyone to enjoy. The park allows visitors to rent bikes and tour around the grounds. They also have an accessible fishing pier for anyone to use. There are picnic shelters and a seasonal snack bar that offers a variety of treats. If you're around for the summer, the state park is holding an event called the Celebration of Summer Festival. There will be live music, arts and craft vendors, and they end the night with a firework display that's set off in the middle of the lake.
So Claytor Lake State Park is a 472-acre park. We have 110 campsites. We have 18 cabins of various sizes, so that it accommodates families large and small. We have a swim beach. We have a little over 7 miles of hiking trails, and we have a full-service marina with gas dock, overnight slip rentals, seasonal slip rentals, and there's a private concessionaire that offers boat rentals.
With a wide variety of activities provided by the park, it is the perfect place to get away from the stress of academics. Since the park is so close to both Radford University and Virginia Tech, it allows for students of each university to have a good time with one another. Catherine, a Radford University student, has been to the park multiple times and has a lot to say about her experiences there.
I really like the environment there. It was fun seeing Virginia Tech students and Radford students come together and play some games, have some fun. It's a very chill but also really exciting time.
With the weather getting warmer, now is the perfect time to visit the park and enjoy nature at its fullest. Make sure to give yourself time to relax with final seasons coming up. This has been Oliver Wall reporting for NRV News.
Almost here, and students are looking forward to the warmer weather and some time off from school. Students should take advantage of the warm weather with their friends before they're off for the summer. Let's take a look at the benefits, students, of going outside and when finals are right around the corner and preparing for exams.
As spring is coming around the corner, students are getting excited for the warmer weather and the anticipation of summer. Most students have at least one of their many professors use the saying, "Go outdoors, it's a nice day," and probably roll their eyes and say to themselves, "Okay." But have you ever asked yourself why they might say that? And if your answer to the question is just because professors are simply saying that because they don't get outside that often, or is it because there are benefits to actually going outside?
So right now where I'm at with folks going outside is there's two things I think about. One is being disconnected from your phone, from all the other stuff that's happening. And then the other thing will be mindfulness. And so when you are just out on a hike or just sitting outside and you're disconnected, you're just right there. You're with your thoughts, you're just thinking about what is happening in front of you. And so I think that that's one of the major benefits. The biggest one to me is being disconnected from social media.
There has been research on the benefits of going outside and taking your studies outdoors. 5 benefits of getting outdoors are to reduce stress, enhance focus, increase energy, improve memory, and boost creativity. Studying in one spot all day can be exhausting, and getting outside can help improve and restore focus and concentration. Research has also shown that getting outdoors and moving can help improve mental and emotional wellness and will ultimately be in a better headspace.
Going outside could just be, walking across campus. So it doesn't necessarily have to be where you have to travel, somewhere.
Not only is being outdoors being linked to lower stress, improved attention, better mood, and cooperation, it also can help students stay attentive to their work. The European Center for Environment and Human Health at the University of Exeter took a closer look at how studying outside affects mental health. In this study, they found that people who spend a few hours a week in outdoor spaces report better health and psychological well-being than those who rather stay indoors.
Welcome back, everybody. Dancer and athlete, those words are not usually put together often, but maybe we should start rethinking that. Dancers are training just as hard, and sometimes even harder than college athletes. Their art form takes passion, drive, and emotion, which all are qualities that can be found in athletes. Let's take a look at what it really means to be a dancer.
For decades, there has always been the argument of whether dancers are athletes. Do they fit the definition? Do they work as hard? Do they have enough passion?
I think people think that it's just too feminine to artsy. And I think not many people are open-minded.
By definition, an athlete is a person who is proficient in sports and other forms of physical exercise. Most people connect this word to basketball, football, soccer, and any other activity you see on a field or a court. But they overlook the second part of the definition, a person who is proficient in forms of physical exercise. Dancers, while they may not be seen on a field or court, spend hours upon hours in the studio working to perfect their craft.
We're here for 8 hours on our feet, on our hands, on our knees, on our backs, on our stomachs, on our heads sometimes.
Dancers take the word athlete and twist it upside down, literally. Most college athletes go to class during the day, then have a 3 to 4 hour practice 3 to 4 times a week. The daily schedule of a college dancer consists of 3 to 4 classes where they work on their technique and artistry, and anywhere from 5 to 8 hours of rehearsal for pieces they will perform at the end of the year. But it doesn't stop there. You can find dancers in the studios until early morning hours working on choreography, skills, technique, and much more. The life of a dancer never stops. They are always striving to become the best version of themselves that they can. Outside of the studio, dancers take jobs to continue to hone in on their art. These jobs include dance films, small performance groups, touring productions, theme park productions, choreography gigs, and even teaching. Professional dancers have a similar schedule. They wake up, take class, and have multiple company rehearsals or performance rehearsals a day. In the evening, most professionals can be found teaching at local studios in the area or at more famous studios such as Broadway Dance Center, Steps on Broadway, and Millennium Dance Complex.
Yeah, I think dancers are athletes for sure, because they're, as people see it, they train like athletes do to be good at what they're working towards. They're putting in just as much physical effort as any other sport, I would say.
And after all that work during the day, the dancers go back into the studio to work on their skills privately.
Athletes have qualities of physicality and being in tune and aware and being healthy, and I think dancers also have those qualities, whether they are more aware of those or not, because some athletes, they are more strict on their regimen, and I think dancers are as well, to the point where it can become a problem and it can become hazardous to that point. So I think there are extremes, but in that I think they're very alike.
Dance is an art form that is made up of emotion, movement, feeling, and passion. But dance is also a sport that is made up of drive, hard work, and physical and emotional pain. Dancers are artists, but we are also athletes, and the world needs to start seeing it as one.
You have to be open-minded to enjoy dance. This is all about emotion. It's about actually feeling something. We're more than just a pretty face and a pointed toe. We have a lot of emotion and a lot of pain and joy that we want to show the world, and have a lot of expression and talent and hard work that the world needs to see. Everyone dances. We just do it professionally.
Welcome back, everybody. Mental health is a domain which is often overlooked. Before the pandemic, almost 60% of students in college reported feeling overwhelmed, and almost 40% experienced depression. This rate is even higher for student athletes, where 76% of them reported experiencing psychological distress. We go to Amik Bath to reveal the personal experiences of students and their mental health journey.
D1 is always like the dream, like that's the aim, that's the goal. And to actually like say yes, you're actually gonna play, it's such a wonderful experience. Like you would never even imagine. It's just like that goal you've always wanted, and to accomplish it, it feels great. Be on the court, you wanna do your best, you wanna put forward. So yeah, it's tough. And this is only the beginning. So I just keep that in mind in helping me going forward, that I know it's not gonna be easy, but anything that is accomplished, and if you wanna be successful, it's gonna take a lot of work and dedication, so you just have to stick it out.
I mean, student athletes just have twice the amount of things to do, I think. I think is a fair assessment. They have the workload and all of the responsibilities that a regular student has. They have to, classes they have to attend, grades that they have to keep up, and then on top of that have to attend practices every day, strength and conditioning sessions. They have to deal with missing class sometimes to compete. It's almost like having, I would say, going to school and working a full-time job. It's kind of the equivalent of that. Athletes carry the pressure of, not only keeping up their academics, and then they have to do all of that on top of feeling the pressure of having to perform in their sport. So it's very mentally taxing to be a student athlete.
I am very competitive, and I want things to be the best they can be, and if I'm going to do them, I'm going to do them right. And so that adds an extra layer of this kind of pressure, which is okay because I want to do well, but it definitely can be stressful. It's huge. I mean, we are an individual sport, and we do have a team, which is good. It's better than juniors, but you still are out there, like, in your individualized court by yourself. And so having a well mind when you're out there on the court, and even in academics and in just life, it's really, really important. So you can do the hard things, and you can be a better person for your team, and that you do enjoy everything you love, and you don't get burnt out.
So what the data suggests is that college students have been experiencing high rates of stress for a long time. And the NCAA does surveys and collects data every so often to see what's going on and how things have been currently. And so the current data still suggests that high rates of stress. We also know that student athletes experience a lot of burnout. There's an interesting study from a couple of years back where they looked kind of longitudinally from, I think, 2011 to 2019, where they were interested in knowing, like, how are people doing in terms of stress and mental health, and what is the help seeking like among these students, athletes, non-athletes. And so over this period, it seems that college students are pretty consistently reporting, they're reporting less psychological diagnoses, and they're reporting engaging in less help-seeking behavior, so going to your college counseling center and asking for help, than students who aren't athletes.
Takes a toll on your mind, physically and mentally. It's not easy sometimes to bounce back, even if like you have to stop playing, and then you're like overthinking, like what if I don't get back to the peak level that I was. And those type of things can affect how you think. They could even affect how you play, and you don't realize it, but that could be like a source of the problem. First you have to get through physically, and then you have to push through mentally. So in that part of the sports, it takes a toll more than we know sometimes, and it affects how we play and how we even move forward. I've always had this one thing that everything happens for a reason. We might not know the reason or we can't see it, but I believe that there's a higher purpose for why we're here, and no matter how hard it gets, we always have to keep getting up every day, keep pushing forward, because we have goals and things that we want to achieve, and it's not just going to come to us. We have to go there and go get it, and that's one thing that I'll always carry with me.
With the new artist building almost being finished and the music department being relocated, we sat down with Wayne Gallops to talk about what has it been like since Porterfield being torn down and what it is to come in the future. Here's Anthony Dildy with the news.
I was able to sit down with Wayne Gallops, the chair of Department of Music, and this is what he had to say about what is to come for their department's future.
So I'm Wayne Gallops, chair of the Department of Music here at Radford University. Well, we had been in Porterfield for decades, and then in combination with the Covington Center that was built in 2008, we had those two facilities. So we've retained the Covington Center for our performance and rehearsal spaces. So when Porterfield was raised to enable the construction of the new building, we were kind of scattered all over campus. So like right now, we're talking in Buchanan House, where many of our faculty are, and some of our faculty in Walker, and then some are in Covington. And then those spaces in Covington have been really compressed because we're trying to teach classes out of there and kind of double up those spaces. So it's been an interesting 3 years, 2.5, 3 years with us scattered all over campus. But we have a really great faculty that works well together, and we've been able to make it work, and our students have been great, and we've been able to make it work. So we're excited about being able to transition now to we retain Covington and then have certain music spaces in the new Artist Center. So in the new Artist Center for music, we will have a new recording studio, and I'll talk about that a little more in a minute. We'll have music ed and music therapy clinical spaces. We'll have a couple of classrooms and some general classroom and computer lab use, new keyboard lab, piano keyboard lab, and teaching studios for the faculty. So that brings back to us even more than what we had in Porterfield with state-of-the-art. So our new recording studio will fiber link into the booth and recording studio in Covington in the Davis Performance Hall. It'll also fiber link into the new Proscenium Theater, the new Black Box, and there's a shared kind of performance studio space in the new building. So we could do a production that's simultaneous. So we could have dancers in a studio space, actors on stage in the Proscenium Theater, a symphony orchestra on stage in the Davis Performance Hall, and be able to control that in one place, which will be really exciting. We'll also have a student project space that'll be connected through FiberLink in that recording studio. So student projects can get managed, and we'll have more facility to be able to do that. So we're really excited for all of that.
This is Anthony Dildy with the Highlander Hour.
An estimated 10 million animals die from abuse and neglect every year. Since these animals cannot speak for themselves, we decided to go to our local animal shelter to inquire about how they care for their animals in their facilities, as well as the work that goes into caring for animal shelters.
My name is Julie Rickmond. I have been with the Roanoke Valley SPCA for about 4 years now. And I am the Marketing and Communications Director. So we are here to be a community resource that provides pet adoption, retention, and education services in Virginia's Blue Ridge. My pets were my best friends growing up, and they really, truly saved my life. So now I feel like I'm giving back to them, and it just makes me so incredibly happy. So we strictly work with dogs and cats, all ages, all sizes, all breeds. All of our pets are vet checked by our on-staff veterinarian. They're here for at least 3 days from the time that they arrive to the time that they are available for adoption. And during that time, they're vet checked. If they are not already spayed and neutered, our veterinarian will spay and neuter them, microchip them, and update them with vaccines according to their age. Puppies and kittens aren't actually considered fully vaccinated until they're 6 months old, so they need kind of those booster shots, but we give them all of those according to their age. So when a pet comes in, we do all of that medical care, but we also do a behavior evaluation, kind of see where they're at behaviorally, if they have any special needs. We address those. If we find out some medical issues, we address those. And once we've kind of taken care of all of those behavior needs and medical needs, then they become available for adoption. Really like to have a conversation with potential adopters, and it's not to be invasive, but we want to learn about their lifestyle and in order to find the best fit for them and who's going to do well with their current lifestyle. So if you're home often, maybe you have a work from home job and maybe you don't like to go out much on weekends and you prefer more of a, you're looking for a dog that's cuddly and snuggly and is going to be on the couch with you a lot. We want to know those kind of things so that we don't pair you with an energetic dog that's not going to be compatible with your lifestyle. But if you are, if you enjoy hiking, if you enjoy going out to breweries with your pets, then we want to find a dog that's more social and outgoing. And same with cats. Cats have different personalities too. So some are more aloof and then some just want to be in your lap. We have one right now that as soon as you go in and sit down with them, they're going to be right in your lap. And some people enjoy that, some people don't. So we want to find out what you're looking for, what your lifestyle is like, and have that real conversation with you so that we can have you meet your match, essentially. So our organization has actually been around for over 100 years. We were formed in 1916, and we became a nonprofit in 1958. So we have had many, many, many changes over the 100 years that we have been in service. Like I said, in the beginning, we were not a nonprofit. We became that in the 50s. We have really grown to include humane education programs to help teach our young folks how to humanely interact with pets and people alike and to show compassion and empathy. We also try to be a very judgment-free facility. We want everyone to feel welcome when they come to us. So we want to make sure that we're reaching all of our community with our marketing and our communications. So donating is fantastic. We always love donations. We are in desperate need of a new roof. Our roof is leaking. We have repaired it over and over and over, and to the point that we just need a new one. It has affected our capacity for care because one of our dog runs, there's a leak in that. We can't use that run with because if it rains, that dog would get wet. So it really has decreased our capacity for care. We need a new HVAC system. So donations are very, very much welcomed and very much appreciated. But also, if you can't donate and you want to volunteer your time, that is fantastic.
Have you ever wanted to know what it takes to put on a production of a musical here at Radford? We got the inside scoop on the production and process of what it takes. We go to Riley Montgomery for the story.
Earlier this month, during the first week of April, Radford put on a production of Bat Boy the Musical. While I was able to sit down with Robin Berg, an associate professor of theater, to get the ins and outs of what it takes to put on a show here at Radford. The first thing I was interested in was how a play or musical is picked. I learned that there is a season selection committee with members of the staff and a student. Bat Boy was picked as it is a different type of musical done in previous years. If you're interested in being in a musical, it is open for all students on campus to audition, and for the spring musical, they hold them in late fall semester. This past semester, it was in November. Because Bat Boy is a musical, auditions include being able to sing 16 bars of a song and attendance of a dance call.
So the score of the musical is actually very complex. There are many rock numbers, there are love ballads, there is a hoedown number, there is a revival, and those are just all very different styles, both to sing and to dance. So to learn the music and kind of flip the script on how to sing that particular style is not easy. Same with how to dance that particular style. So just learning the score of the musical was certainly a challenge. Furthermore, there is quite a bit of stage combat involved in the musical. There are fights with guns, knives, unarmed combat. There is blood, stage blood that was used in multiple instances. And there's quite a bit of intimacy as well. So we had an intimacy choreographer come in and make sure that all the actors' boundaries were being respected as we crafted those moments. Yeah, in addition to just being a 2.5-hour long show, that's a lot of stamina that is required of the actor. So I would say this was definitely one of the more challenging shows we've done here in a long time.
It takes dedication to put on a musical as well. Berg and her team had been rehearsing for 5 or 6 nights since the beginning of the spring semester. However, it doesn't just stop with cast. The crew was comprised of staff members, alumni, and current students. Berg and her team had hired an outside musical director who had previously worked with Radford's theater department, but unfortunately it was in 2020, so the show had to be canceled. Bat Boy is an incredible musical, and while unfortunately you can't see it in production anymore, I highly encourage you to come out next year or next semester to see any new productions from the theater department and the new Artist Center.
In a somber turn of events, last semester marked the passing of Kevin West Bowers, a beloved professor here at Radford University. Join us as we reflect on the life and legacy of this remarkable individual, exploring the impact of his contributions and the memories that he leaves behind.
On September 27th of 2023, in the fall semester, Dr. Kevin West Bowers tragically passed away. He was a communications professor who meant a lot to the University of Radford, and we were able to interview some of his previous students to hear about his impact and how it affected Radford.
He was the kind of professor where he kind of accepted you for what you were good at, and if I could go back, I'd tell him before it was too late that what an impact he had on me and the confidence he gave me as a creative.
Yeah, like Bowers is one of those people that really made you feel like you had much more of a chance than just like going into just serving coffee at a news station, I guess. He always came in with like this like upbeat and creative mind.
He was really caring. He always wanted the best for you. He never had it out for you. He was there to help you. He was like, well, here's a critique you can do. Try this and try this. And if it didn't work, he's like, well, that's my fault. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, just all around, like, he's such a nice guy, and he was fun to be around.
As a professor, it really kind of was one of the first people outside of like somebody like my parents or immediate family that seemed to actually take interest in a lot of what I was doing.
We were also able to get interviews from faculty members of the communications building in order to get their memories and thoughts about him.
I would say Dr. Bowers was really kind of a calming influence on everyone. He was always even-tempered, even-keeled, always looking for solutions and things like that. And so he was I would say, a steadying force for a lot of people.
A very friendly, person, very open and welcoming. He was always somebody you could go to talk to if you had questions, and he was always willing to help out.
He was just such a pleasure to work with, and very knowledgeable, and helped me learn about the media study side of the school.
With his passing, Wayne and Betsy Bowers have formed the Kevin West Bowers Scholarship in Communications to honor his memory. If you'd like to make a donation, you can go to Radford's website at the CHBS Giving page.
All right.
Watched the movie with my sister. It was a really good bonding moment for us as women. Oppenheimer's great too. I love I'm in the Army, so I love all that kind of cool stuff. But yeah, I'm a girly girl at heart, so I have to go with Barbie.
Barbie, Oppenheimer, which one did you like more and why?
Oppenheimer, because it was more I don't know, it was more historical, and I just enjoyed watching it better, to be honest.
Oppenheimer or Barbie, which one did you like more and why?
I personally liked Oppenheimer more for the story and for the realistic approach that they took for it, and the special effects that they used, I believe, were cutting edge.
Thank you so much. Oppenheimer, Barbie.
Barbie, for sure. Because I love pink. Pink is my favorite color. And also because I feel like the meaning of it was really geared towards women and things we go through and feel as we grow up. So.
Many of us remember July 21, 2023 as a time of double featuring Greta Gerwig's feministic Barbie and Christopher Nolan's record-breaking Oppenheimer. But which was better? I'd like to welcome Jessica Groft and Dorian Starr to discuss just that.
Thank you all so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, I just want to say, we just want to just hear your side of why you think Barbie is better than Oppenheimer, and then we'll definitely absolutely hammer you all with our points. So go right ahead.
Yeah, I think I'll start. So I just feel like I've seen both of the films, and I feel like Barbie just honestly speaks to a more broader audience, at least in this modern time. I feel like Oppenheimer was a little bit more geared just towards one little historical event, whereas Barbie's fun for the whole family.
Okay, I dig that.
Yes, Barbie's definitely something that has evolved. It's still relevant today, and as Dorian just said, it was for a broad audience. It was so full of messages, and one of the things that was important in Barbie is that she could be anything that she wanted to be, and that's important for little girls. So in fact, Barbie could actually be Oppenheimer if she wanted to be.
I think it's hard to compete with that, actually.
Tell me about it. Got some fierce competition.
Yeah. You want to start?
Yeah, of course. Personally, I thought Oppenheimer was just better paced and more linearly understandable as a movie in general. I thought a lot of the actors were picked perfectly well. I think Robert Downey Jr. gave a fantastic performance.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy and Florence Pugh and all of them.
Yeah, I don't know those people, but I do know that a lot of the actors were really, really typecasted very well in that movie.
Just to actually add on to your, to the the framework of the narrative and all that in general. And I just like the way that how it just structured its narrative from going from the the past, which is in color, and it just shows just why exactly Oppenheimer would think of all this and just his own what's the word I'm looking for? Context. The context is the why he did all that, and then it bounces back to the trial and everything with Hoover, and he's just seeing things in black and white, and it's literally just showing it in black and white. But yeah.
I mean, Oppenheimer might have some black and white and some color scenes, but Barbie, it's got pinks and blues, and it's really saturated, and just it pops just a lot more, I feel like. And also the set design of Barbie, I feel like it just doesn't. It just competes so much better.
Well, I'd like to say, I think the set design for Oppenheimer is actually miles better in the sense that it just completely shows you this amazing tower with this device that is just pinned to the top, and everyone knows what that device is. Everyone knows, oh yeah, that thing's really gonna do the thing that we know it's going to do.
To add on to Austin's point, I think that a lot of the colors that you say pop really well for the set design, I think Oppenheimer actually gets about just the entire spectrum of colors popping out in one very particular scene, which was the atomic bomb actually going off.
Ooh.
I think it was very good visual and graphic design. I think the audio design for it was very, very well done. It had me in my seat thinking to myself, that was a really good decision on Nolan's part.
I mean, I feel like you're talking about this tower, but we also have a tower, the Battelle Tower. And I mean, y'all might get the Oppenheimer. I mean, it's got. It's just a bomb, destruction stuff.
Just a bomb. That's a pretty loaded statement right there.
The Battelle Tower, it's got imagination. It can be anything it wants to be.
But the sets are also really accurate to how you would actually have them if you had a Barbie. And as someone who had Barbies when I was younger, it really brought back a nostalgia of it because it's how it would really think. And as you're older, you start to think about those messages very differently. And I do think that the scene with the bomb exploding was very colorful. It was really cool the way that they did it. But Barbie's accuracy with the costumes and set designs just brings a whole new level to the table.
And actually, Oppenheimer makes you remember something as well. In fact, in the trial scene, where it reminds everyone in the theater that we really just did some really bad things to a lot of people. And it shows that in with the sound design. In fact, I love the sound design, by the way. I just really want to mention that. And it just shows all this really graphic imagery of women just holding their babies and crying and all that. And just seeing Cillian Murphy have to look at that, and then the audience has to look at that as well, which I think is much more impactful than having Ken over here pretend he's being flung in the air because he got hit by a big wave. But that's just me.
Well,
I
I'm just
guess,
curious
but-
why no one's really talked about Oppenheimer recently until this movie comes out, but Barbie has been a common theme throughout the years, and it's still growing today. It's a growing industry.
I think Oppenheimer's
I would like to
historical
say,
relevance is, I don't think that anyone has just heard Oppenheimer and said, the bomb guy, nah, we shouldn't talk about that. Like, no, I think it is a very greatly discussed historical relevancy. And although I do appreciate Barbie's sort of pop icon, like iconic characteristics within the space, it's very much like Barbie. It's very plastic and very
Fantastic.
correct. You beat me to it.
But also, it's like a musical. Like we have way better.
You had one song. I'm so sorry. You have one song in that movie.
But that one
You could argue that
song is
Oppenheimer
better
is a musical
than
with how
any-
it like uses the
Please
score and
elaborate.
everything as well.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah. Are you and me elaborate?
Yeah. Yeah,
Austin,
please.
yes, I
Please
will elaborate.
elaborate.
How like Oppenheimer's are looking at things, and then it's like juxtaposes that with like the graphics of like all these like atoms coming together and vibrating as like this like incredible like orchestral score comes in. It's basically like a musical, just like without the lyrics.
Yeah, but it's not sung by Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
It's sung by Cillian Murphy, but it's like in his head, like you know.
And that brings me to the next point. There's no Ryan Gosling in Oppenheimer. I feel like that's. a
There is no
negative.
Ryan Gosling.
There should have
However,
been.
there is Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. Yeah, he was actually in that movie. I don't remember the actor's name, but he was in that movie,
Yes.
and he did a fantastic job as an extra.
Thought I
You also
saw
got like
Josh.
Matt Damon and like all of them as well.
Thought I saw Josh Peck in there, but I couldn't tell.
Oh yeah, Josh Peck was in
Josh
there.
Peck
Okay,
is also
okay.
in there. Yes. So yeah, we have this like lining up of A crew, A tier actors, and you have who? Ryan
Literally
Gosling.
Me. Literally me.
Don't ever say that.
Are you gonna?
I think that adds more points.
I think that
I
gives
don't
us
know, I'm
our
just
side.
saying.
validity.
I mean, Murphy definitely had a really good run, but Margaret Robbie and Ryan Gosling, their connection was just so much better.
Yes, but Cillian Murphy's eyes, they like see right through you and like right into you,
Which is kind of scary.
and it's beautiful. Actually.
Or really beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the symbolism. There was a lot of like metaphorical messages that were in both of these movies, and I think the one for Barbie, the horses, was probably the most like speaking to the audience because it really shows the patriarchy relevance in the real world, and I think it was good the way they compared Barbie Land to the actual world and how we kind of have like two different dimensions going on at the same time.
Actually, it shows patriarchy in Oppenheimer as well. I mean, there was like a really great scene where both of like the male scientists and the female scientists are arguing over just like who should be in charge of using this, with this research, because they thought that like radioactive material like had like an awful effect on like women's ovaries, and like they're just like, what? Like, where'd you get that information from?
No, I think the scientific part of Oppenheimer, and it was a very well done movie. Both these movies were really good, and they both deserve really good recognition for that. But Barbie was just better.
And I think Oppenheimer was even better.
It was too long.
In fact.
It was
Oh,
too
we're going
long.
into the length
It was
now.
too
We're going into the
long.
length. Okay.
So
Could you bring you? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you want to see less movie for your movie when you pay like how much did you pay to see Oppenheimer? Did you see it in theaters?
I did.
How much did
and
you pay?
Probably like $8 for a ticket.
Okay, so you probably paid $8 for that ticket, and you probably paid $8 for the Barbie ticket.
And I think Barbie was more worth it.
Really?
But Oppenheimer had more movie to love.
Yeah, but it was a little bit too much. Barbie really kept me in tune the whole time. I was interested in what it had to say. Like, it really spoke to me.
You weren't anxious in Oppenheimer when they were about to release off the atomic bomb?
Well, you knew it was going to happen. You just knew it was coming at some point.
I mean, I feel like that could be said about the Barbie movie too. You knew everything was going to work out in the end. It's Barbie. They can't like show something incredibly graphic or awful happening to the main character. It wasn't even like a bittersweet ending or anything along those lines. It was just perfect, playful, and happy, which is what Barbie should be. But Oppenheimer really kind of gets you to think at the very end of it, nukes are scary.
Yeah.
Nuclear warfare is terrifying.
But can you bring your family to Oppenheimer? I feel like Barbie just is more dynamic. It's a family experience, whereas Oppenheimer, it's a little risky to bring your kids to, and it's just not as able to be marketed to a broader audience as well.
I don't believe accessibility should define a movie's worth. I think a rated R movie can be fantastic in the same vein a rated G movie can be fantastic.
And there's still like a lot in Oppenheimer that that everyone can definitely relate to. Definitely at least in the aspect of like the fact that this guy just like basically just like set off what will be like how people think of weapons for like the next however long, even like today, that's still used today, and it's just like all pushed on him.
Yeah, but and coming back to your point, Aiden, I just feel like though, yeah, it might not be the only thing to really show how well a movie is, but it's still, that's a huge market of people that it's not really accessible to.
So you care about money in this?
No, I'm just saying. I feel like.
But sounds like you care about money.
I'm not saying money. I'm just saying the experience for everyone else.
No, I think I agree with what he's saying. He's like, it's not something you could take everybody to see for everybody to understand. And I agree with you that Oppenheimer definitely makes you think about how this really changed the world of warfare and weaponry. But Barbie did the same thing. It makes you think about how the world is, and you reflect on yourself a lot.
And so does Oppenheimer.
Yeah, we've discovered that, Austin. We've been very clear as to what's being said. We're both in agreement that they are both very good movies, but we're not here to say, oh, these are both really great movies. We're here to define which is the better one. And
we're talking my point. Yeah. Oppenheimer does it better.
What do you mean by better? Just
Yeah.
like in general?
I have to
yeah,
actually.
that's the whole point. You gotta give us
the
a back.
debate.
Well, again, with what I'm saying, it's something that forces you to watch these horrible atrocities that are going on, especially closer to the end.
So you're not saying patriarchy is a horrible atrocity, are you? So you're for the patriarchy, is what you're telling me.
I'm sorry. What? I'll have you know that. Actually, you know what?
Austin, as your legal team, I advise that you defend yourself at least somewhat.
Patriarchy is horrible, and I said before, they detail that scene really well.
So you're endorsing Barbie here, is what you're telling me.
I don't believe that should be so black and white, much like Oppenheimer.
Much like Oppenheimer.
Much like Oppenheimer.
I feel like you're being a real Hoover here.
You really should not You cannot appreciate Barbie but still think that the patriarchy is an awful concept, and you can like Barbie but still fall into patriarchal tropes.
Yeah, but I feel like the two topics though, when you're really thinking about it, yes, nuclear annihilation is pretty bad.
It is very
very bad.
Very
yes,
bad. Not good at all.
But what's continuing to happen day after day is the rise of the patriarchy, and I feel like Barbie really addresses the
still
issue.
Being shown in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, but it's very just glanced at. It's not really addressed too terribly much.
Oh, I got you. Well, thank you all so much, though. But unfortunately, we have to wrap this up here today. Thank you all so much for coming here today.
That's all the time we have. I want to take a moment to invite everyone to the studio for a brief tour. There will also be a QR code after the credits. If you'd like us to know your thoughts on the show, we want to thank everyone who tuned in to this broadcast and all that made it possible. You've been watching the Highlander Hour, a production of the School of Communications. I'm Aiden Beveridge.
And I'm Austin Lamb. Good night, Radford, and thank you all for coming.